Hello students and welcome to the lecture series of first year BCom Compulsory English, and today we are going to start our syllabus with the discussion of first short story The Beggar by Anton Chekov. Anton Chekov was a Russian writer and he is also called as pioneer of modern short story and drama. One of such story is The Beggar, and it was completed in 1887. The story is written in third person narration. Now, first of all, what is short story? Short story is somewhat different from novel and drama. Is in size and length, it is different from novel. And the story is written in third person narration means what? Third person narration is a narration technique. Now, there are three narration styles or techniques: first person narration, second person narration, and third person narration. In third person narration, third person narrator is used. That third person narrator tells us the story. Now basically the word narration means to tell the story. Here the third person narrator tells us the story, but he is not part of that story. He is not one of the characters of the story. He is not, as a character, he is not involved in the story, so that he is outside of the story, yet he shows us that particular story happening in front of us. So that third person narration is that the story is shown to us, but the narrator is not one of the characters of the story. Whereas in first person narration, the first person narrator I is one of the characters of the story. He is the integral part of the story and he tells us the story, and he also comments in between. So here the third person narration is used. Now what is second person narration? Second person narration means when the second person you is addressed. For example, in letters we address you, so that particular narration is called as second person narration. Now what are the themes here? Themes are struggle, kindness, compassion, and alcoholism. Now what is struggle? We all know that in human life the basic, the basic condition of human life is you have to struggle. You will have to struggle to achieve the success. And what are kindness and compassion? These are the qualities, these are the emotions which are very important for human life. And alcoholism, now the beggar is drunkard, he drinks, and he drinks the alcohol, and so that the story has this theme also. This is the story of a beggar who changes himself in the course of a life. So here, as the title suggests, the story is revolving around one particular character, the beggar, and he himself goes through that particular change or transformation in the course of story, so that there are some particular factors which are responsible for his change, and the beggar changes himself in the story we see. Now, first of all, the action takes place in St. Petersburg, Russia in the late 19th century at the home of a lawyer and at the ticket booth of a theatre. So, the setting of the story is Russia and the time shown is in the late 19th century. And the two settings are shown. First is at the home of a lawyer, and second is at the ticket booth of a theater, where the lawyer finds that beggar working. He has that particular job at the end. At the start of a story, the beggar meets lawyer and tries to hide his identity in order to extract money. Now at the start of the story itself, we see that the beggar is meeting lawyer and he is trying to hide his identity. Now he wants money from lawyer, and so that he speaks lie. The lawyer takes him to his home, and the beggar meets his cook Olga and gradually changes himself and takes the charge of his life. Now there are three characters: the beggar, the lawyer, and the cook Olga, and uh, these are the three important characters of the story. Now first of all, in the beggar we have the theme of change, dishonesty, alcoholism, kindness, compassion, desperation, struggle, selflessness, and gratitude. Now, the story is taken from his collection, The Complete Short Stories, and the story is narrated in third person narration, as we have already discussed it. The narrator is unnamed, and from the beginning of the story, the reader realizes that Chekhov may be exploring the theme of desperation and struggle. So, first of all, Skorstov is the name of that lawyer, and he helps Lashkov. Lashkov is the name of the beggar. Okay, the lawyer's name is Korstov and the beggar's name is Lashkov. Only after the latter agrees to chop wood for the lawyer who believes honest labor will reform Lashkov. At the start of the story, the beggar meets lawyer and the beggar starts speaking lie and he hides his identity. He tells that he is his village schoolmaster, and the lawyer remembers that one day before the same beggar was telling him that he was a student expelled from that school or particular college, and so that he becomes very angry and he scolds that beggar, so that and he takes the initiative to change that beggar. He offers him to come to his home and to chop wood for him, so that he believes that honest labor will reform him. It was a true help for that beggar actually, right? And when Lashkov goes to lawyer's home, he meets Olga. Now, Olga is a cook at lawyer's home, and she is also helping. We see in the story that she helps Lashkov without making any demands on him. True, she roundly scolds him with a sharp tongue, but she ends up chopping the wood for him also. At the end of the story, we come to know the fact that actually the chopping of the wood was not done by Lashkov, the beggar. Actually, Volga was chopping the wood for him, but she was also scolding him. Okay, and both of these characters help Lashkov to change. Now, who helps more Lashkov to change? That is an important question. Chekhov poses in the story as an articulation of this theme. The author does not answer it, nor does he preach in favor of one approach or the other. Now, who is more important, or who is the most important character, who is responsible for beggar's change? But the answer is not given by Anton Chekhov. Now, Lashkov is the name of that beggar, and beggar who lies about his plight to arouse the sympathy of a lawyer. Now, Skorstov is a lawyer who refuses to give money to Lashkov and lets him work for money. Olga is the cook. When Lashkov comes to chop wood for Skorstov, she is the beggar's supervisor. Now there are van drivers, colleague of Skorstov and notary, and these are the sub-side characters. Okay, van drivers are the workers hired to transport Skorstov furniture and other possession after Skorstov decides to move. They laugh at Lashkov, who is to assist in the relocation when he merely stands around trying to keep warm. And colleague of Skorstov is person who gives Lashkov work of copying documents, and notary is the person who hires Lashkov and pays him salary of 30 rubles. Now, Skorstov was a well-to-do advocate. We are going through the summary now, and he is a well-to-do advocate, And one day, a beggar came to his door. His name is Lashkov. He was wearing a fawn-colored, tattered overcoat. He had a dull, drunken eyes. He had a red spot on his cheeks, and the beggar said that he had been a village school teacher, but he had lost his job. Now he has no money, and so that he is forced to beg. Now Skorstov recalled that he had seen the same beggar the other day in the another street. There he had said that he had been a student who had been expelled, and he becomes very angry. He was angry with the beggar for telling a lie. He threatened to call the police and have him arrested. For a while, the beggar stuck to what he had said, but soon he admitted that he had been telling lies to make people take pity on him. In fact, he had been a singer in a Russian choir. He was a drunkard and had been dismissed. And now he had no work to do and no way to support himself. He lived by begging. At last, he tells the truth. Okay, he admits the fact that he was telling a lie, and by telling a lie, he wanted to extract money from that lawyer. Now, Skorstov told him that he must work to earn a living. Now, Lashkov pleaded that he was willing to work, but no one offered him any work to do. Now, Skorstov asked him if he would chop wood for him. Skorstov called his cook Olga. He told her to lead Lashkov to the woodshed and let him chop wood for him. Lashkov followed Olga unwillingly. Now, Lashkov is not ready to work, right? He had not that habit of working. so that at first he was unwilling to do any work. Skorstov hurried into the dining room. From there he watched the cook leading the beggar to the woodshed. She opened the door of the woodshed. She flung an axe down at his feet. He lifted the axe and hit a piece of wood irresolutely. It was a feeble effort. Now Skorstov was looking from his dining room, and from there he watched that the cook was leading the beggar to the woodshed, and she opened the door of that woodshed, and she flung then an axe down at his feet. But here the beggar is not willing to work. Skorstov was sorry to have set that menial work to that drunkard beggar who was not fit for that work. Actually, the beggar was not physically fit, he was not suitable actually at that his condition was not, physical condition was not in that position that he could work hard, he could attempt any hard work. So that the lawyer thinks that it was a mistake to offer him that particular work. After an hour, Olga came in. She told Skorstov that Lashkov had chopped the wood, and Skorsov was very happy and gave her a half a ruble for Lashkov. He said that if a Lashkov desired, he could come to chop wood on the first of every month. Now he offers, lawyer offers him a particular work to chop wood on the first of every month. Okay, and he gave the money for him also. Now Lashkov came to chop wood regularly on the first of every month, and he was always given work and he earned a little money now. Now he's not, he is earning money now, and he is not, for surviving, he is not telling lie now. When Skorstov moved into another house, he asked Lashkov to help in packing and packing his furniture. He hardly did anything. He walked behind the wagons, hanging his head, but Skorstov believed that he had done his job well. Now, Skorstov is moving to another place and he is packing his furniture, and he tells beggar to help him, but here the beggar is still unwilling to do any help. But later on, lawyer believed that he had done his job well. Now he gave Lashkov a ruble. Lashkov knew how to read and write, and Skorsov gave him a letter and asked Lashkov to go a friend who would give him some copying work to do. Now Lashkov went away. After 2 years, one evening, Skorsov saw Lashkov at the ticket window of a theatre. Now, at the end of the story, here the beggar is working at the theatre because he knows how to read and write, so that he's working documentary kind of work he's working. So he was well dressed, he was buying a ticket. He told Skorsov that he was a notary and got 35 rubles a month. Now, Skorstov was very delighted because he had been able to push a depraved beggar on the right path. Lashkov thanked him for his kindness, but he said that the true credit for changing him went to Olga. Naturally, this surprised Skorstov. Lashkov explained that he had never chopped a single piece of wood. Olga chopped the wood for him and gave him the money. Her words, her sacrifice, and her suffering for him had an inexplicable influence on him. He began to change. He stopped drinking and he was very grateful to her. He could never forget her. Actually, the help was done. The help was done by Olga, according to Lashkov. And this is the end of the story, that the true credit is given to Olga the cook and not to the lawyer, according to Lashkov. Now, this is the end of the short story, The Beggar by Anton Chekov, which shows us the transformation of a beggar person into an honest employee. Now there is a twist in the story at the end. We get surprisingly, Lashkov gives the credit to the cook Olga, and as her words, her sacrifice has the great impact on him than the lawyer. Certainly, the lawyer is the person who leaded him in a right way, but the true credit goes to the cook Olga by Lashkov. So this is the end of the story, and there are some particular questions and answers. Normally we can have the questions like this. We can discuss the questions in later lecture series. First question would be, draw a character sketch of Skorstov or the lawyer, draw a character sketch of Volga, and draw a character sketch of Lashkov the beggar. In the next lecture series, we'll discuss the other questions also, and also the other theme related aspects and elements of the short story. Thank you.